This conference will now be recorded.
Morning.
It's you and me, Brandon. And Bob, that's it. So, we need a lot of motions from you and I.
We lost Richard?
He's on his way.
I would say it's about 9. That seemed reasonable if you're just coming out of the hayfield at 7:30.
I don't know.
That pickup probably goes pretty fast.
It goes pretty fast when it's not in a hurry.
Pull your deputies off the highway,
He's in a
please.
hurry and keep that headlong with somebody.
Richard's coming in.
Fold the wig. Fold the wig.
Case on all over.
Yeah. Tired hands in the back, bouncing around. I get to see it now.
How'd you call?
Guy was out all night, so he was feeding out of the back of his pickup. Tired hand was out all night. He hit all the bumps. That poor guy was bouncing around back there.
Worst part would be if you got here and you couldn't remember if the hired hand was with you when you left or not.
That's right. Didn't I have something in the back?
Jackie, can you hear all right?
Just random. Okay.
He's on vacation.
He's in Seattle till the 12th.
I can. Good morning.
Please.
Wow.
Hi, Jackie.
Yeah, you're 5 by 5. Yeah.
Loud and
Am
clear.
I loud? Oh, okay. I'll talk soft. Hi. Have a good day.
You too, Jackie. Thanks. Yeah.
Just soiled myself. Thank you.
Uh-oh. It's time, my friend.
Oh.
Right, your computer.
All right. It's the time to start the meeting. Welcome, everyone. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We were making sure that Jackie was online, and she come in very loud and clear. Chairman is out of state on vacation. Richard's on his way. Brandon, I assume you must be in Florida. You're on the screen.
I am here.
Okay. Anyway, welcome everybody in redneck style meeting today. So, first order of business would be to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I did have an amended agenda. It was different than the one that was in the packet. I've denominated as such at the top. The one that the public has is the amended agenda as well. There are no changes to that agenda.
Okay.
We did have an additional new hire.
Right.
In
Yes.
personnel.
Yep.
Okay. Move to approve the agenda as presented this morning.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for further on the motion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, just to note too, if there's any nay votes, then we'll have to do roll call voting, but state law changed, so we don't have to do roll call voting unless there's a nay vote.
Correct. Thank you. Do we have any conflicts?
Mr. Chairman, I have one.
9:30. Riley?
Yeah, Riley Fremont at 9:30.
Is there an approach permit that you might have? No.
Brandon, are you all right on
I might have.
conflicts? What happened to Brandon? Brandon's gone.
I think he's there.
Yeah, he's
He just turned his microphone off, or his camera off, I think. He's still connected.
Make sure he's there. I mean, we can't really continue unless we have.
Brandon, can you verify that you're still there?
Somebody's got his sound off. Either you do or he does. X by his sound icon.
Yeah, that's him. I'm live.
Okay.
You want me to continue?
Oh, Brandon? Might have just stepped away for a second.
I feel like the only kid on the playground. You and I, Randy.
There he is. We're good to go.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'll move to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second it. Any further discussion on the minutes?
Great job, Brenda.
Yes, as always. Seeing none, all those in favor of the approval of the minutes, will say aye.
Aye.
Brandon, can you hear us?
He's talking into his phone.
Sorry, guys. At least we don't have any cranky people in the room.
Brandon, I got you on the phone.
Yeah, I lost audio somehow. I can see you guys, but I can't hear you.
Kate, we're trying to approve the minutes. Everyone, all those in favor of the approval of our minutes will say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Motion carried.
Signature on front and back, please.
Okay. And we need approval of our regular meeting minutes as well as the Board of Adjustment minutes.
That was the motion.
Yes, we did do that, all right. Let's go on to bills, Randy.
Okay.
There's a lot of them.
Brandon, were you clear that that motion was for both sets of minutes?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any questions on the bills, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, I have something to bring.
Brandon, are you all right with the bills?
I am.
Okay, I am as well. Would entertain a motion?
I think the auditor has something to share.
Oh, okay.
We are in the process of starting to bring all of the furniture up from the South Dakota Lottery and the South Dakota Department of Revenue. We did our first load last week, and we got the bill for the moving company in the amount of $2,035. I did not submit it for payment because I wasn't quite sure if you wanted to take it out of the building fund or if you wanted to do a contingency transfer and pay for it that way. There'll be some more at the end of the month. I think we're starting on the 27th and going through.
Then we'll move the money when they're all here.
Yeah, we could do that, or if you want to give me permission to do a manual for this so they're not waiting for it, and then we can do the contingency transfer
I think we should pay it if we have the bill.
Okay, I would move to approve the bills with the manual payment of the invoice discussed.
Thank you.
There'll be storage fees as well.
Okay,
Second one, Brandon.
motion and a second on approval of paying the bills as well as the manual on the moving one. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel, Brenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the step raises for Faith Erickson, Ishmael Perrin, Robert Goody, Matthew McCroden, Sarah DeGuerre, Taylor Benson, Tyler Son. Those are all step raises.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Further discussion on the motion for the step raises? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the classification change for Brandon Rosenaw.
Okay, I'll second it. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Oh, folks, I'm sorry, Sheriff.
I'd just like to take a second, Mr. Chairman, this is a tremendous victory, not only for Brandon, but for his family. It's an indication, I think a quite strong indication of how strongly this board supports our personnel, and I'd like to look forward formally sticking with Brandon until he can recover and earn his tremendous victory.
All right, well, thank you.
Well said.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I have two new hires. One is Crystal Chapin as a correction officer 1, grade 1, base pay at $20.22. This person is a part-time fill-in. It says pending completion of pre-work screening. And The other one is Elizabeth Sinkar,
I haven't seen that one yet.
Elizabeth Sinkar, Deputy 2, grade 3, base pay of $28.55, effective 9/21/22. This is a full-time permanent employee.
Brandon, you won't have that one.
Move to approve both and with the Chafin's one pending completion of the pre-work screening. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and then I have, with the, an extension of, or in continuation of employment for Jolene West, due to the exhaustion of her FMLA, this will be for reasonable accommodation until you have an effective date.
What's your pleasure on
This
that?
is not FMLA.
It's
Non-FMLA.
She's exhausted her FMLA, so we would like to continue her employment, with a reasonable 60 days.
She's recovering from a procedure, I think.
Okay.
Long-time employee.
What do you need?
The motion to continue the employment for her.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything else, Brenda?
Because we only have up to 13 weeks. So, also,
Brenda, 4 more weeks.
4 more weeks. Brandon is
Another motion?
requesting, yes, Brandon is also, Brian, starts with a B. Brian is requesting that we, extend, for 4 more weeks, the, donation of sick leave or vacation, whatever.
For the same individual?
Yes.
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion on the motion before us? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
I saw his lips move. All right. Anything further under personnel,
I
Brenda?
think I'm done. Thank you.
How about travel?
I have none.
No travel requests. All right. I think it's up to the auditor's account with the treasurer.
Alrighty. This is as of August 31st, 2022. Total amount of deposits in the bank is $72,476,643.55. Included in that total are CDs of $5 million, bank balance of $21,212,828.81. The U.S. Bank balance, which is our Public Safety and Services Center construction funds, $41,266,242.75. We have money market, $4,997,571.99. Total amount of cash is $1,350. Total amount of checks and drafts in treasurer's possession not exceeding 3 days is $80,237.21. Total amount of cash is $3,594.84. Petty cash $1,860. For a total of $72,563,685.60.
All right.
Move to approve as presented.
Second. No, all right. Any further discussion on the motion before us? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Opioid settlement memorandum of understanding. Brenda, can you fill us in on that?
I'll try.
Or Bruce?
The opiate thing. We've received a letter from the Department of Social Services, requesting that the county, we signed on this, signed up for this settlement a while back, probably been about 6 months ago, could be even a year ago. And each county that signed up for it has to sign this memorandum of understanding. Just wanted to check to see if this is something that you indeed actually want to do, because the money that we're getting has to be used, earmarked for certain types of information.
And so I think was it 12,000? And so that's part of the story. I think the other part is that the county would then, as the sort of recipient and manager of this money, there's certain other requirements. There's the accounting requirements, and we would have to sort of like have public engagement about how to spend the money. So, for example, Northern Hills Drug and Alcohol gets money. That would be an obvious choice for this money to go to. It has to go to, I think, those purposes, to prevention and treatment and those kinds of things. There's going to be more to this in order to actually technically comply with this. And so there's a real question, at least in my mind, if it's worth the money in terms of what we're going to have to do to on an ongoing basis.
Commissioner Divert.
So the legislative session said 70% goes to the state, 30% to the counties. The population's over 10,000. So our total we'll receive is $12,000.
301 cents. For year one.
Oh, so this will be ongoing?
Yeah. Yeah. And so the part that I was highlighting is that there's going to, so the uses are for, I think, again, for treatment and prevention activities. And then, but there is this.
Well, there's pregnancy group.
Yeah.
And so would mental health fall into that too? So,
but this will be an annual amount settlement.
So we could put it as revenue and manage it, and then put it towards those 3 or 4 programs that we support.
Northern Hills Drug and Alcohol.
Will
I don't think it's
court qualify?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
And I don't think it's quite as easy as just sort of like giving it to, behavior management, who you give money to, or to Northern Hills Alcohol and Drug. Again, I think you have to have these engagement. I'm trying to find here these engagement meetings, and so someone's going to have to be in charge of doing that. I mean, we certainly can, but there's more to it.
How about DARE programs?
I don't think
prevention.
It might. I don't know.
Do we need to make this decision today?
They need it signed by. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I know it's extra paperwork, but $12,000.
You have any thoughts on it, Brendan?
I'm kind of going back and forth on it. I agree with Commissioner Divert. It is $12,000 at some of those programs that sure like to have. But then I lean toward Bruce and say, well, but is it worth all the hoops to jump through to get that? It'd be nice if we could sub it out through, say, behavior management or somebody like that and have them do the accounting part, but it doesn't sound like that's the way it works.
And I don't.
It also sounds like you probably basically have to have some public hearings annually too.
Well, it doesn't say public hearing necessarily, so it's not quite like that, but I'm trying to find out. It's a public engagement. And so I think we would have to probably invite all the stakeholders. We have to identify stakeholders and have them come. And so, I mean, it could be Teen Court, it could be DARE. None of those are listed on here, so I can't give you a definitive answer. But it could be any of them coming in and asking for a portion of the money. Fair enough, that's what it's for. But we're going to have to coordinate that and remember that and do that.
Commissioner Divert.
Well, and this will be annual. It's just not a one time, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes me support it more because it's annual, and once we get this set up, it'll flow.
Yeah.
Even if we had to put a new committee out there just for this fund, you see what I mean?
Right.
And we'd have those people come into that committee and make recommendations, and that committee would just function to distribute this money. It'd be one meeting a year for $12,000, and then we put it in our revenue and redisperse it in our budget. So that being said, I would make a motion to have authorize the chairman to sign the agreement.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to engage in the title for it?
Memorandum
Memorandum of Understanding.
Agreement.
Any further discussion on the motion before us? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Any abatements?
There is. That's right. I put it next slide.
We have one for Nicholas, and I can't pronounce his last name. I'll kill it. He was granted a VA disability or tax exemption. We gave him one for 19 payable and 20 payable and 21. We had to do an abatement for that, because the paperwork upstairs, Nicole and him had worked it out that he needed that. And then for this year, Nicole, she said she didn't get it coded in the system right, or the system didn't pick it up right. We've had some issues with that, so we need an abatement for this year. Because it was he got taxed for it and he shouldn't have. The total value to pay it off is $22,648, and the taxes are $331.58. She did check and see that for going forward, it is in the system correctly.
Okay. So this is correcting a clerical error?
Computer error.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Move to approve the abatement as presented.
Okay,
Second.
I'll second it. Brandon seconded it.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. That it, Deb?
I do think so. Yes.
All right, Bruce, can you fill us in on this, I-90 Spearfish Area Welcome Center meeting?
Right, there's a discussion about what to do with either exit 2 or to move that rest stop to, I think, exit 10, and develop it more into sort of a welcome center. This is sort of, I think, a rehash of what you might recall from 4 or 5 years ago, however long ago that was. And so I think there's been an outside firm that's been engaged to reach out to stakeholders and get their impressions. And so I think that they've talked to Amber, for example. I've talked to them a couple times, but they have a meeting set up for U.S. County Commissioners, as you see on the agenda. It's following your next commission meeting. So your commission meeting is the 27th. It would be that afternoon at 1:30 at Spearfish City Hall, and I've confirmed the time and the place for that. And so I know in the past that Richard and Randy were very much engaged in that. I assume that Richard probably, if he were here, would want to go, but I think
we've got conflict with planning and zoning on-site that afternoon as well.
that was not till later on. That's not till later on, though, not till 3. Oh, and that on-site got canceled.
Oh,
Is that the one for the tree houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, they withdrew their application, I believe. We'll confirm with Amber.
Okay,
but
okay.
That was it. Yep.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to attend.
1:30.
Yeah, I
Yes.
would too.
Yes.
Do we need to do a notice of quorum?
Well, I assume probably only 2
Because I
were
will
going to
go.
go. You're gonna go?
I'm going to go.
Okay, then yes.
If Richard would go, that would be 3.
And I'm sure he will as well. I was
And I'd be
involved in
interested in going as well.
Okay, so that'd be 4. Yeah.
All right. We don't need to do
Do we need anything from us for that notice of quorum? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
I'll get it out.
All right. Sheriff, I think it's time for you, sir.
Good morning again. Before I jump into it, I actually have a question for the chairman, for Dr. Alka. Two of the issues that I hope to discuss, I think we were wanting the board to vote first on the budget. Is that correct? Or
Well,
should I deal with them now?
So I think if I can, so your budget meeting is set for 7:45 or 8:45 today, with final approval not until the 27th. But what the sheriff is going to discuss with you is the idea of advertising and bidding for patrol vehicles now. It's hard to get them, and so because of the shortages, you need to do that. Normally, you would wait and have that the bid opening at the first meeting in January, right, and do the notices in December leading up to that. But in order to be able to get the vehicles delivered in a timely fashion, so for example, the vehicles that you ordered this January, you're just getting those now, right?
They're just ordering.
Just okay. So that's how far behind they are.
Can't we do it contingent upon approval of the budget?
That's where I was going.
All right, well, let's just do that.
Yep.
Okay, so that would be the first issue. The second issue is very similar in that it's IT stuff. We discussed this at our budget hearings earlier in July. This is specific reference to Axon Enterprises. These are the body-worn cameras and also the cameras that are within the patrol vehicles. And so I'd be asking contingent upon approval of your budget for the ability to go ahead and sign those so that we can get that equipment ordered. You're about 10 months out from the time that you sign them. So if we hope to get the equipment in 2023, I need to sign them now.
Mr. Chairman, in both instances with the vehicles and this equipment that the sheriff is describing, we cannot take delivery until January, and we're very confident that that is not going to be a problem.
Right.
Or we could do a supplemental budget hearing if they, right.
Can we do this in one motion? Both items?
I would do
Two?
separate, yeah, one to
Okay.
set the bid opening and then one to
Okay, yeah.
authorize,
Right.
sign Brian,
Up to you.
Brian to sign the contract.
Randy and Brandon.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
On the notice to bidders, we got 3 that we're trading off of buying 4. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, I move to set the bid opening for 27th September of 2022 at 8:15. Is that right? And purchase would be contingent on the budget approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then I would move to purchase Axon cameras on delivery beginning that the first of the year. And
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Lastly, by way of an update on the Public Safety and Services Center, our committee's meet, work through problems, considerable problems at times. We are finding trees along the way. I hope there's a significant victory today, but the reality is, unless Dr. Alka received, I have not. We're still waiting for final confirmation on when considerable. That having said, are moving substantial dirt, and there's every likelihood that in the next approximately 3 weeks, start.
There was a pay request in for about $750,000 in these bills. You know.
Do we need to take action on that? Okay. Commissioner Dyer.
Couple questions. Have they given you an updated schedule?
Construction schedule.
Is Steve Williams monitoring?
Steve Williams, I would offer is out circle a little bit.
Thinking that.
Some wind in the back.
Please back in page now.
Well, I would suggest that we have to go ask Steve if we should get that schedule up. I don't think that's a big stretch based on my experience. I would offer that up to you and Steve. That, but it does 2 things. It aligns their pay requests with their schedule, and it's the schedule built. I would leave that up to the owner's rep, Steve, and the sheriff, and the budget manager, and/or something. Ask.
Okay. Anything further?
Nothing further.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's take a 5-minute break before we get Alan in here, and then hopefully give Richard a little more opportunity to get here.
I'm going to mute this just for a second, guys.
there's been one done there already by city and county. This was, he sent the email on, it's just the one from the border to 17 for possible relocation. I saw a letter from her or something.
Okay. Alan, looks like you got a lot of approach permits.
Well, howdy. Let's start off with, we have Mr. Worley here today representing the Peaceful Pines development out there. And he has submitted, should have been in your packet, for 2 approaches. And I also submitted the layout, sketch of the layout and also the traffic study that was done back in late 2020.
Peaceful Pines are doing it, Alan? Okay.
And I know at the last we visited with this was back in 2021. I brought this traffic study to the board's attention. At that time, it did not have the driveway applications, and there was a comment or a concern made by Commissioner Dybert about the traffic study did not indicate that there was a need for permits. Okay. But now we've got, there's new dynamics going on out there. Besides the Peaceful Pines development, you're going to have the Monument Health people on the other side of the road across from Peaceful Pines. So I wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
No application from them yet?
No application from them yet, and who knows, that could be years down the road. But for future considerations, with this development going in, and I don't know, I'm going to let Chris maybe explain in what's the time frame, what are you looking at as far as starting the construction?
We'd like to break ground in November of this year, and there's a lot of dirt work that needs to happen before the foundation can go in. So we'd like to be complete hopefully by the following winter.
Okay.
That's very optimistic. It might go to the following spring of 2024.
The first driveway that's on there that is an existing one. It's already there. I've been there for 100 years or whatever. The next one up the road, the second one, there's nothing there on that one currently. And currently, right now, I went out and looked at, the first one doesn't have a culvert under it, but I don't know what your future grading plans are, but I required a culvert under both. Until I know what the grading plan, if the water may run away from the road out of the ditch to the north, I don't know. So I did include and I went with commercial culvert. I went with 60 foot of with concrete. Yeah. And I think that's what you were calling for in your plans anyhow. So with the flared ends. So
Commissioner Dybert.
So I have, what about the third approach they show by the stormwater treatment? They're showing that as basically a thoroughfare. What's the status of that corridor?
Third approach, that's an existing.
That's already there.
That's at the Elkhorn Bridge development. Okay.
And was that permitted as a commercial approach?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's been there for.
And so your traffic is also going to go out there, right?
Not on this first phase. That's a future phase. It was the townhome development might be 5-10 years.
But the plan that I'm seeing on the screen shows that and also an exit and entry eventually.
Yes, we show in there future pays, all of that in red is future pays.
Well, I'm troubled. You're going to have people over a certain age going in and out of this area with no turning lane. And I really am concerned about the safety, no matter what the counts are. I'm also very concerned about this and this, limiting sight of view left and right. I know they're pretty, but if you go on 10th Street in the city of Spearfish and you want to turn out into traffic, you can't see anything because of the stuff in the median.
Well, we're actually considering taking both the boulevard median out.
That would be my preference. I know it's outside of our right-of-way.
Right.
But you need long fields of view
right.
when you're coming into that traffic.
We were already planning on taking that out.
And I know they're pretty, but you understand, especially with the age groups and the visitors that are going in this, which I am one of.
So you're definitely removing those?
We will be removing.
Okay.
And, you know, I also am concerned that at some point, especially with development on the other side, which we don't control because it's in the city, that at some point we're going to need a turning lane, and who pays for it? And which approach would it be, or would it be a common approach? That's just good planning to know those types of things, so we don't have staggered approaches. Typically, you try to put an approach across from another approach so you can have a controlled intersection if you need it. So I don't know how to answer those questions, Mr. Chairman. Or maybe Alan has some suggestions.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Bruce.
So the property itself is inside city limits of Spearfish, so all approvals for zoning and subdivision and building permits comes from the city, but the St. Ange Road, or that portion of it, is still under the county jurisdiction. Just so everybody understands what we're dealing with here. So the county has not entertained any sort of change of zoning or done any platting out there. It's all apart from us. And so that's where some of this might possibly come up, right? And that
road jurisdiction could change, though.
Yeah. Well, I would suggest that we work with the city to get an MOU that triggers some of these things, that when this other development comes in.
On that already.
But I mean, on this specific project, that we say if and when the south east side is developed, that the county will require a turning lane. And if and when something happens that this would become city's jurisdiction, I think we need one specifically for this. Not to hold up their project, but
what about, isn't it the city of Spearfish wants to do a corridor study on Colorado Boulevard, right, from city on out to 85? What would be the point, or what would be the harm in seeing if that corridor study could extend
to the bridge, the culvert, box culvert here?
Oh, yeah, to the past 85, going up to
both directions.
Going up to the
end of what the city's annexed.
Yeah, going up to the city limits.
Plus maybe a little
underneath
buffer.
the interstate.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
What about extending that? And I'm sure Spearfish is going to say, well, that's a county road. We're not going to want to have to pay to do for a study on that. But
it's another item we can address with our meetings.
What if that would be included in that study?
That's a good idea.
Well, here's where I'm leaning in today's conversation, if I may, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to continue this till our next meeting and give us some time to talk to the city about this specific MOU. You were thinking of starting in November, right? So if we approve these approach permits hypothetically by early October, would that work for you? Or sooner?
Yes.
And that would give us time to talk to them about expanding the corridor study and what the county's role would be in that, and getting a commitment.
As long as that's not going to cause you some hardship. And
the next commission meeting is September 27th.
So it'd be 3 weeks. Okay. Is that it? I hesitate to make a motion to approve it today. And I think it'd be a better discussion when we had a full room too. And that's been our MO through the years, is when stuff like this is have a full room of commissioners when we make those determinations. What do you think, Alan?
Well, I wanted the board to know all the facts up front, you know, what's coming up, what's, you know, been done in the past, and like I said, he started on this back in 2020.
I remember that. Well, and with the transition at the city right now with the new planner in front of us, it may take a little while to polish that. Mr. Chairman, do you have any suggestions?
No, as long as we're not causing this gentleman a lot of hardship, and he's obviously okay with it. I don't have a problem with.
To clarify, you're discussing continuing this till the 27th, and what would you like to see between now and the 27th? We probably aren't going to have any agreements worked out or anything like that. I mean, I think that would probably be optimistic. So I don't want to frustrate or disappoint anybody on what we're going to be able to accomplish. We can obviously reach out to them and have a report, but I would defer to Alan in terms of communication with those folks. I haven't talked to them since our last meeting.
I have not either.
Our expectations would just be to have a discussion whether they would consider expanding the corridor study to include these two areas, and just would they consider it, and maybe we can just call the mayor and ask that. And then the second was if and when that other side is developed, how do we set some guidelines out for proper planning for those approaches? Okay. And it could be done just through an email.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're probably not going to have any solid answer.
No,
it's probably going to be yes or it depends.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to start the discussion so it can continue into your
motion to
continue to our next.
Brandon, are you on board?
Yes, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just want to point out that we're not against this.
No.
We just want to make sure everything fits the county's needs as well as yours.
All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay.
Thanks, Chris. So is that meeting on the 27th, is that at 8:30?
Yep, same time, same place.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Alan?
Okay, well, let's see. While we're doing continuous driveway bits here, have one submitted from an Anthony and Raff. This is off of the Crooks City Road. I believe there should have been in your packets with the GIS.
Which one are you looking at? I've got two of them.
You're looking Oak Drive or Crook City?
Not the Oak Drive one. That one I'm not gonna bring today because he still hasn't presented me. Have to see this all.
Okay. So we're just dealing with the Crook City?
We're just dealing with the Crook City one.
Okay.
The visibility is good. It will require a culvert. Inch, 40-foot. I would recommend approval.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So he's putting the new approach here. Mm-hmm. We have an approach there, and we have an approach there, and we have an approach there. You can't use
this approach here. They're going to build a house right here. Okay, that's why because of these people coming down and going right by, want to come down, going by. Oh, by the way, this is section 1. So there's going to be a new house built. This driveway will work out.
Okay, so this approach will be built in section 1?
Yes.
So they need permission to improve the section line, and that piece of road would have to be built to county spec in that section. That's our normal practice.
Well, I'm only dealing with the driveway. The road that's there now, some of the road that's there now is on the section line. It's not driveway.
today.
I'm not comfortable approving the approach permit until they get permission to improve the section line because the approach is in the section line.
Is the approach in the section line or is the upper part of the road? Because the approach is actually off, right, Alan?
The approach will be on.
It will be.
The arrow's just kind of big, I think.
Down there.
Okay, so I thought he pointed to the one to the left.
Yeah.
Straight up the section line.
Right.
Yeah, well, they're gonna probably anticipate improving it. Yes.
So if I was to make a motion, it would be make a motion to approve based on them improving the section line to get the road built on the section line county specifications.
Mr. Chairman, you probably contemplate one of those agreements that have been done in the past. There's at least one, I think. I think there was another one proposed that never went through, but Mr. Tellinghusen was involved in that one along by Mr. Hour's property.
In again.
Yeah, so you probably would anticipate an agreement like that?
Yep.
Where they would put it into county specs at their own cost, et cetera, et cetera.
We required them to have a road district, but I don't think that's happening. We've got to be consistent.
So, design that motion.
Move to continue to the next meeting to get the agreement for the section line improvement in place with the approach permit.
Second it for discussion. Brandon, you on board?
If we vote that way, yes. I was ready to approve a approach permit, but I'm good either way.
Oh, hold on one second, Brandon. I got you turned down a little here. Go ahead. Can you say that again, please, Brandon?
I said I was prepared to approve the approach permit, but if we decide to continue it, I can go that way as well.
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
You have.
So that?
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity, we are removing the Oak Drive permit that was in the packet.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
This one was approved.
That will be the 27th.
Will we see the other one then too, you think?
I'm assuming
If the road district can meet.
the road district was supposed to have given him to go up the green light on Oh, that one, yeah, we'll pull that. I don't even have that.
Yes,
Probably should.
Alan, would you mind if we kind of push you off to the side for a minute here? We've got a public hearing scheduled for 8:45 and take care of that. Thank you. Okay, at 8:45, this is a board discussion and action, public hearing, resolution 2022-27. And this resolution setting the 2023 county budget. And at this time, if we have anyone in the public, you could stand and state your name for the record. And if you have anything to say for or against this on this hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I think today is a public hearing. I don't think anybody anticipates you approving the budget until your next meeting.
Correct.
For clarity, Mr. Chairman, can we approve it today?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I guess seeing none, we will close the public hearing and offer it to the Board of Commissioners for further discussion or action.
I put copies out there. If anybody needs a copy of it for any reason, I can get you one.
I don't know why we delay it.
I'd prefer that all 5 commissioners be there for the vote.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason I can think of.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we've continue on till the 27th.
Close the public hearing?
I did close it. I did close it and offered it to this board. Do we need to take any formal? Okay, Alan, back to you, sir.
Okay. Well, since you've got your application for the Deer Mountain Sanitary District, Water mains for Deer Mountain Sanitary District. I think they put the diagram, the sketch,
Up on the screen.
proposed locations for this water main. There'll be a lot of, and there, looks like they also have to see, maybe we already approved one for mooring under, I don't know.
Yeah, we did the one under,
We did one already.
under, Rochford Road.
Rochford and Brownsville.
Uh,
This is just to run it within the county road right of way.
yeah, the Rochford one they go under, and then they go under state highway.
That's right. Sure.
Is this the one that you're not participating?
No, I can participate. This
Okay.
is the sanitary district, has nothing to do with me.
Okay, your recommendation, Mr.
Well, I reluctantly, I would rather see, there's getting to be so many water lines and sewer lines and electrical lines out there anymore that, it's almost impossible for us to go out there and do any digging at any, putting in signs. We have all of these utilities in our right of way. And I know it's, it's as much their right of way or their much, they have that legal authority to apply to us to get our permission. And we've been granting permission for basically everything out there. But in my opinion, these water lines, some of this stuff could be run on private property, on the Powder House Pass property without impacting our right of way. But there again, that's just my opinion.
Commissioner Davis?
Well, the significant difference is here is they have a pipe in place already.
Yeah, there already is a
And,
line.
and it's been in since the 70s. And they also have a pump station right there that's built in our right of way with no easement, no exhibit. They have no record easement in the right of way. They have no record of an application in the 70s to occupy the right of way. Then they come up through John Siegelo's, which is where the state moved the right of way, so the pipeline's not in our right of way anymore. It's in the abandoned right of way, which they didn't deed to the owner. They granted him use. So it's a little bit hairy, but
it's a lot hairy.
They do have a pipe in place, and they're another government agency. They're a sanitary district, so we're basically dealing with a government-to-government easement. What I'm more concerned about, Alan, is the coordination, because we don't know where that pipe is, and they're going to be tearing up your gravel road.
Well, there's a lot of areas, as you can see, where it's going to be impacting the Inglewood Road, yes.
And it's also going to be impacting traffic. And so are you comfortable that they'll replace that road to the?
They have in the past.
Okay. And if we can move it off the gravel section into the ditch, is that your preference, or to put it in the?
They have in the past, so it hasn't caused us any major heartburn yet.
Okay, so typically when you replace a water line, if you can replace it on a new location, you don't interrupt the service while you're doing the replacement. So can you work with them to realign it where they can do that, or are they planning to just remove the pipe and shut the water system down, or do you know?
I do not know, and it might be wise for us to have their engineer in here to explain this whole, what, I don't know when their time frame, what they're looking at for a time frame to do this work.
They're going to bid. They're advertising for bid right now.
Are they? Okay.
And they want to have that new system online, to the best of my knowledge and belief, by October of next year. Okay.
Of next year?
Yeah, and it'll take that long to bid and build. They've got about 8,000 lineal feet of this main. They've got a tank to build, and they've got several services to deal with. They've got 100 customers right now.
So you want to continue it?
So if they're going for bid, then the bidders are looking at this they've got a set of plans based on what we're seeing here, and that's what he's going to submit his bid on.
I think what they're trying to do, and I'll speculate for a second, is they wanna have the permission to construct it before they bid it, which is reasonable. I would like to see, I don't know what their new improvement is at their pump station there, but they don't have an easement, and that's in a road right of way. It's in the road right of way, and it's an old railroad right of way, but they have no easement in place to it. So I'd like to see them secure an easement for both their security and ours. Can you go back to that earlier view, Bruce?
Mhm.
And so right at that valve that's right out in front of the pump is where they tie into the Lee Deadwood Sanitary District. That's their water source, where that little square is out there. And the Lee Deadwood Sanitary District has an easement from Homestake back when, but so they're going to be tearing up that little piece of road too for that tie-in. On that, what is that called? Railroad Road, or what is that? Inglewood, right by their pump house, just after Cedar Lowe's.
It's on Inglewood.
It's on Inglewood. The railroad road is up further, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up the road from.
So,
He dug that up
you know,
half a dozen times in the last 2 years
yeah, right.
to repair things.
Yeah, they've had some issues there. So if I did anything today, I would suggest that we give them a preliminary approval and ask their engineer to come in, give us details before we finalize. What do you think of that, Alan?
That's entirely.
Because it lets them go to bids maybe. Or we can wait till the 27th and do it all then.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with a preliminary approval.
Okay. Move to continue this application to the next meeting to have their representative and or legal counsel in the room.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Motion approved. Okay, Alan.
What else you have, what's next on your screen there, Bruce?
I think we're gonna go to some of those agreements.
Are you not doing Sodak Homestake?
Yeah, have we passed that on the screen?
Well, he can go anywhere he wants, Alan.
I can go in.
This is the driveway permit application submitted by, Jamie Smith from, Sodak Homestake Friendship Trust for a new, approach off of the Red Hill Road, just south of the Homestake Road intersection. And there should be a photo of it there. GIS I submitted showing the location. The site distance is right at the minimal because of the curvature of the road to the north. But actually, when he first submitted it, he wanted it closer to that, but I told him I wouldn't go for it until I had the site distance, so we moved it to the south. It will require a culvert, but the drainage there is minimal, and the ditch there, depth of the ditch is minimal, so I went with a 15-inch diameter instead of an 18. I would recommend approval of that.
Move to follow the recommendation and approve the approach permit.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. What else do you have, Alan?
Well, we've got, amendment number 1 for agreement number 717. This is for Elmore Bridge. The state is now county. We already signed the original one where we were doing 18. They were doing 81.95%. We were doing 18.05% match. Well, now the state is kicking in 12.71 out of that temporary 5. Cheap up for this.
So that's an amendment to this agreement.
And then that agreement right there, yes. So
Your recommendation?
I would recommend we better jump on it. We're saving some money here, fellas.
Move to follow the highway superintendent's recommendation and authorize the chairman to sign the amendment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Are we gonna race?
Yeah, I do. I can give him.
Okay, you've got project updates.
We have another one of these, agreements for, joint powers and funding agreement for the bridge replacement for Whitewood Service Road Bridge between Whitewood and Sturgis. This also, state will be kicking in an extra 12.71% of our 18.5 match. So, it's also will save us some, dollars down the road.
Is this the response to the bid against
This was for, they've got all, they've got this extra money now, and this was a federal one, and then telling the states that having their skin. So they're actually contributing a little bit more.
Move to authorize the chairman to sign the new agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Service road.
Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
You there, Brandon?
Well, I got him turned down. Hold on. There you go.
Did you say aye?
Yes.
Okay,
Got him sign one more.
motion approved.
Can't agree with him. Sign one more. This was first one? Yeah. We're doing a triplicate. That's how we are. Redundant.
Okay, project update. Oliver Street, the Oliver Street is now completed and finished. And the good news is we came in $45,390.73 under the original bid amount on that.
Well, that's good.
Westview Road, the paving project, is completed. That came in at 17,000.
More or less?
Under the original bid.
Was the savings in less over excavating, or what was it?
Tonnage and
Tonnage. Asphalt or gravel or both?
On the Oliver one, it was gravel and asphalt. Different base course.
Two more coming.
So, okay, that's project, the chip sealing project was completed. I think they finished that up like Friday. They fog sealing the Acorn Ridge Road and the Center Street in St. Launch.
Alan, did you want to ask for authorization to let bids on the 27th for crushing and stockpiling too?
Authorization to advertise bids gravel crushing. We worked with the Forest Service. This is going to be out there on 31 Road, supposed to be inherited.
An existing quarry?
And an existing Forest Service quarry. And we plan on this fall starting some of the, there's quite frankly, a lot of work to do out there with ditching, culvert installation. That road has got areas where the water runs right down the middle of the road because there are no ditches. So we anticipated going out there this fall yet while it's dry, able to accomplish some of this work. If we do some of this work in the fall, we kind of need some gravel put on. That's why we're opening the bids on the 27th, and the gravel crushing guy, one of them anyhow, that's going to be bidding, like to move in on October 1st, crush this pile of material in October, so that there would be material out there by the end of October or November 3rd. It will save us a lot of money based upon this bid is about 3 miles away from the east end. Otherwise, we're gonna have to either haul the gravel from Spearfish, 30-some miles, or the Centennial Quarry, almost 30. So it's gonna save the county a lot of money. We're looking at putting up 15,000 ton, which will cover this 3.7 miles.
Commissioner Diver, do we pay the forest for that?
Foresters do not want any royalty for it. Here's the copy of the bid advertisement that was submitted to the newspaper, but too late. You have to get the authorization from the board today.
I would have liked to seen it before the meeting.
It wasn't in your phone. Yeah, I just got that typed up.
Move to set the bid opening for the crushing of the gravel at the 231 pit, whatever you call it. Clayton 2 pit for the 27th of September commission meeting 2022. 8:30.
Second?
Second it. Any further discussion? And all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion carried.
Other issue or other thing, this summer we've replaced a lot of culverts, metal culverts, and we've been digging them out of the ground. Most of them are rusty and smashed. Our yard space is filled up with all of these surplus old rusty culverts that we removed. We need that yard space in order to bring our ice sand in, our salt in, fix our. So what I would like to do is get it declared as surplus property, and we would haul these over to Sturgis, the surplus, the junk dealer over there. Right now, iron price, scrap iron market is high. Actually, for our cost to actually haul these over there, but legally have to be declared surplus first.
I have a question, Dr. Outka. We do these surplus, can we just bid ourselves of them this way, or do we have to bid them out?
Well, I was just thinking about that. So typically, you have to surplus everything, and if it's less than $500, it can be sold to anybody, right? If it's more than $500, then typically you'd have to go through a bidding process or use a realtor if it's real estate, that kind of thing. I'm just trying, as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to sort that out about how technically I don't know that this is an exception to that. And so I think we would have to, I don't know if the surplus place, if the scrap place is going to put a bid in. Would they put a bid in, do you think, Alan?
No.
They're not going to, so then we're just stuck with it. Then at that point, then you can do whatever you want with it. So it seems like we're going through a bit of a process to sit on it for another 3 weeks. But
So if the net is under $500, does that matter?
I don't think it talks about net. It just says the value exceeds $500. I don't want this to be overly complicated, but
We're trying to get rid of some junk out of our yard.
Yeah, we don't want to haul them over there in the dark.
And we haul them over there, and I don't know if we're gonna make $500 on. I don't know.
so who's going to bid on it and have to come and haul it and so forth? There is all of that.
Well, would the bid document include us mobilizing it, or would it include them taking it out of the yard? When you get a bid.
You gotta take bids, and then you have to have.
Oh, I know, Alan.
But the thing is, then if you did bid it, however you bid it, and then there were no bidders, which I suspect there wouldn't be, then I think it's fair game. Then you can do what you want with it. Then we could take it to the scrap place.
What if we had somebody declare the value and it was under $500?
Well, that's what you do with real property. Yeah, I mean that probably works. Someone's got to determine it.
And then we can surplus it today.
Contingent upon the value being less than $500.
We can still surplus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if the value is under $500 at our next meeting, we could haul it.
Put the bids.
Every week we have to bid.
Well, the way you're headed, Bruce, then we'd have to advertise it for bid.
Right. Trying to talk myself out of it. Not having very good luck.
What we've been doing in the past is when we have our county surplus sale, we're not having one.
Yeah.
We have one every other year.
Right.
We have sold that. When the iron market is down, we don't even sell them, but right now it's high enough where scrap iron.
Good time to do it.
Here's Brenda has found something governing recyclables. Here it is now.
Okay.
Okay, so I would make a motion to declare this surplus and recyclables and authorize the highway superintendent to dispose of them at his discretion.
Second.
Usually Brandon seconded it. We would coincide with our auction, but we're in and off year.
But it's recyclables, so.
That's why it's never come up. I'm just trying to think of why we've never dealt with it.
Okay, does everyone understand the motion? We're getting rid of some culverts, Richard.
Found a way to do it, Richard.
We're getting rid of some junk
I
culverts.
want to get rid of some junk, you know,
I've never seen a recyclable in my life.
Dr. Alka found a very creative way to call it recycle.
Brenda did. Brenda did.
Get rid of it.
Brenda did.
Well, it is recyclable.
Yeah. Need something else.
Do we have a second?
We did, Brandon second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Job description.
Job description, I don't know. Bruce, did you get?
Yep.
I revised.
Yep. Got with red edits. I distributed it. Yes.
And the blue edit.
And
From
the
our
blue
last.
Oh, I didn't notice any blue. I just noticed red.
Other qualifications.
Oh, sure enough.
Look at that.
That's it.
Look at that. Blue.
I would move to approve the job description and authorize to advertise for the position immediately.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
No, okay, so I'm knowing who's doing what. Is Bruce gonna go to the newspapers with this? Am I supposed to, or who's doing what? And what newspapers do you want it in? Well, that's a.
We approve the motion to advertise it.
Advertise immediately. So the question is, who's gonna post this?
Can I do it?
We'll
Bruce
do
and
it.
I got it.
Okay. Anything further, Alan?
No, just an informational tidbit here. We did some traffic counting last week before on Maitland Road, because we haven't counted anything since 2018 on Maitland. We found out, actually, surprisingly enough, the traffic on Maitland Road, the south end of the road, actually seen the bigger increase than the north end of the road. Because of 177 vehicles because of the Paradise Acres development. The bottom section from Christensen Drive South, that did increase by 61 vehicles, now up to 746 as a daily average. But there was one day in there where it was actually over, it was 820 on a Friday or a Saturday. And then on a Sunday it dropped down to 618, and then on that Monday it dropped down to 507. So it brought the average, 6-day average, to 746.
Commissioner Davis?
It was interesting with our natural resource meeting, Forest Service has done counts on Tinton Road, and it's over a 750 average daily traffic. till they get past the second subdivision, then it goes to roughly 300. And when they get past the Iron Creek turnoff, it goes to 60. So we have Tinton Road that has just as much traffic as Maitland.
But that's probably just 3 months of the year. It's not year.
Well, the difference is it's their road, that's their road.
Alan, are those traffic counts, is that going in and out, or is that just one way?
That's in and out.
In and out, so, okay.
Might have been affected. I stopped and just drove back and forth.
I saw some kids stomping on the.
176
77,
times?
yeah. Just kidding.
Now she needs a new transmission.
Okay, that's just food for thought.
That's interesting.
Informational.
Very interesting. Very.
That take care of all your business, sir?
Well, I didn't bring I didn't have that listed as, if you wanna, we'll put that on for your next meeting, the approval of the 5-year plan.
Well, we already approved it, didn't we?
No,
I can't remember.
You just had the public hearing.
Yeah, that's right, the public meeting.
Yeah, you did.
And this is just guidelines.
That's the thing.
And it's not on our agenda for today.
That wasn't on your agenda today.
It was
Okay.
information that they sent out.
It'll be on your
Can you send
September.
this to me digitally?
It's on the
Oh,
side.
Alan, before you leave,
It's on the side. Yep. And on the website.
big pink sticker here. Wondered about, your thoughts on the Maitland and the Bulls Canyon, those two projects. You went out and looked at them.
Well, the one on Bulls Canyon, there's still not even close to being done on that one yet. The Maitland, the Paradise Acre one, looked good to me. The only question I had was the thickness of the gravel on the road, but after visiting with the contractor, he told me how many ton of gravel he hauled. Now, I know I'm going, what he said.
Well, the gentleman sitting behind you done some samples, and it's 4 inches thick. He
Oh, yeah. Okay.
presented that to us at Planning and Zoning.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Jeff and I were out there last week and drove it in, and the work looked
Yeah.
good.
I wasn't able to be there, so I just, since he's here, let him say what, just so you guys know, because I
Okay.
know we
We'll
didn't
go out
have that information.
Fix or tear up roads, whatever you desire today.
Thanks for coming in.
No,
Can we take 5?
it looked good to me.
All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Thank you, Alan.
You're gonna be getting a new driveway by your road. A new driveway. We got flags on there, so you're gonna be getting a new neighbor out there, I'm assuming. He's gonna build a house, I guess. Oh, yeah. That's what he told me. Thank you, Joe. Carson needs to get a driveway too. But he hasn't applied.
How are you, Amber?
I'm here.
That's good. That was a good start. I wasn't there for a while. I just got here.
Well, and I was gone all last week, so I haven't been in since actually, a little over a week,
Oh,
so.
our mail hasn't been very consistent. They're having trouble at the post office. I
Are
guess.
they?
Yeah.
So
Delivered
did you
some-
forget about the meeting this morning?
No, I thought we had one, but I never did get a packet on it. And I thought, well, I must be thinking wrong because it isn't the second Tuesday.
Well, this morning even, I was down here to drop the stuff off and Bob says, Richard's not here yet. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That was at, 7:30 or so.
Yeah.
So,
I always come about the same time.
yep.
And that. How you doing, Bob?
Old and fat?
Old and fat?
Yeah. Other than that, fine. Redneck style meeting today.
Yeah. Well, I apologize for being late. I didn't even.
It's Bob. Bob's the chairman
Bob.
today.
Where's the normal one?
Oh.
Vacation, I guess.
Okay. You're doing great, Bob.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it.
Nobody jumped across the table yet?
No. Need a Cough
got, the road straightened out up, Maitland there, going up and down those steep hills.
I think, yeah, they got the easiest part. They got some work to do on the upper end, but they
Twice up is the best.
need done.
Uh-huh.
So drive smooth. I don't want to start speeding on it, but yeah, you could go 60 miles.
Yeah.
Doing great.
Stay on the road.
We'll get through.
We always do.
Well, it didn't look like a good place to have a road, but I guess they want it.
Conquer.
Yeah, we follow the rules. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, I designed it, so I think it's great. Looks better than any other major project out there. It's the best one yet.
Yeah.
But I designed it, so what can I say?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of hills, and they're using the hilltops for that.
Yeah. Well, this one we didn't get the advantage. The other Maitland roads were on more ridges. This one we didn't get to use a ridge. We got future phases that we'll use some ridges, but this time we didn't get. You were on the toe of the hill all the time, And in this phase 1, phase 2 gets to use a ridge top. That's phase 2, and it wasn't exactly an easy.
I wouldn't think so.
A lot of. I always relate to my kids' stories though. When I have to deal with contractors now.
How are ya?
And owners.
Awesome.
Come on in. They're all fighting. They're all.
Are you here for plat?
Yes.
Alan said they were not done with the road.
We're not done.
Yeah, for Canyon. He went out there Monday. Is that what he said, Bob? Monday or Tuesday?
I don't remember.
Yeah, they weren't done with them.
How far are they?
He said there was still quite a bit of work to be done. So I don't know if you want to get a hold. I didn't go out there, but Jeff said that they had to still cut in
I'll
and
talk
stuff.
to Denny.
And
Denny's supposed to be here tonight.
okay, if you want to let him know, I don't know. And I don't know if Denny was able to be out there with them or not. Jeff's upstairs and he went out and looked. So if you want to run upstairs and talk to Jeff, I think he's up there. But let Denny know. I don't know how that's going to, if they're going to do a approval with the condition or not.
That's the last condition that we talked about.
Yeah. So just as FYI.
I will do that.
We ready? Do we need Bruce?
No.
All right.
I don't know
We'll
if this
continue.
is on,
Amber?
Is this on mute
Throw
or
the
anything?
ball in your
Okay. All right, so we have a public hearing for a development plan for Dean Meyer. This is a commercial lot right below the Gilded Mountain subdivision. He amended the highway service commercial zoning to include the specialty resort as a conditional use permit. And you guys approved the conditional use permit already. And then as part of that, we request that a development plan be done because it's bare ground. And so that's what Dean has done. And it hasn't changed since they started the process, just so, you knew what they were getting, what they were requesting. So the property is zoned highway service commercial. There will be a 25-foot setback from the road right away from the front, 0 setbacks on all your sides because it is zoned commercial. And the access to it has to come in off of Gilded Mountain. It can't, the DOT won't allow them to have access off the bottom. So that's what they're doing there. The site plans and stuff were all attached in there. I don't know what Bruce has. Let's see if this will work. Pretty basic. You have your 3 cabins, the parking setbacks are fine. We'll have to issue a building permit on all of these structures anyways. but this is what he had, what he had done. I didn't mean to do that. So you've got your 3 structures. This one here is your leach field where the drain fields are going to go more than far enough back. Driveway's coming in off of Gilded Mountain. It'll be a loop road. The well is already existing. It's already out there. So normal process, we'll have to issue building permits on all of these. He'll have to have his engineered designs done for septic systems. That's all I have, I guess, unless you have anything additional.
Prior to opening it up to the public, did the applicant have something you wanted to add?
Well, it's not there yet.
The well's not there yet. Okay, I thought there was one on there.
What was the last comment you just made?
Just that we'll issue building permits on all the structures, so that's where the detail will come into play for.
You did receive the septic plan.
Yes, yep, we did get that. Yep.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and if you have a desire to speak for or against this, please stand, state your name and address for the record, and we'll open it up to the public at this time. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this? Okay, any more from the applicant? Okay, well, we'll close the public hearing and offer it back to the board for our consideration.
17, yeah, 17.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Divert.
we do not have perk tests currently.
No, we did do them.
Yeah,
Design-wise, we
Helen
just
Eddy.
have to, yeah,
But we
Helene
did
Eddy
perks.
did it, I
We
think,
did perks,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused by what you said.
Yep.
And then, where do you consider the frontage?
The frontage is off the highway.
Okay.
That's where we require it, even though his driveway's gonna come in over here.
That's why I asked.
But we do it off the highway because that right-of-way is gonna be way wider.
I think that should be noted somewhere for future, that the front is considered along Highway 14A.
Okay.
So there isn't a discussion later along the other road.
Okay. Further discussion or action?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Ian, so we're done here, and then, building permits are next, whenever you're ready to move forward on those. Yep, sign can come off and you can just bring it back in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Amber, carry on. Randy, you let me know when you have to.
Okay.
Out here. Goldsmith, please.
Yep, that's the next one. It's just
Okay.
taking a while to bring it up. All right, so this one is a change of zoning request for the Goldsmith properties out in Nemo. This is directly adjacent to existing suburban residential property, and they have a corner of their property that is already suburban residential, but they would like to change the rest of it to suburban residential to allow them to be able to use the existing foundation that's been out there for years, build a residence, and then keep the little cabin that they had redone, and they'd like to be able to keep it as its own, on its own piece of property. So ultimately, they're looking at having the 7.47 acres divided into 2 parcels. One for the existing cabin and one where the old foundation's at.
This is the second reading. We had the public hearing last meeting.
Correct. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Well, if this is the second
So
reading.
second reading, then it's not a public hearing.
Is
Correct.
closed
Yep, if you
already.
close the public hearing.
Okay, what's your pleasure on this, gentlemen?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so how this takes effect is, I'll try to get it to the paper this afternoon, which will be published. And then you have to wait 20 days for it to take effect. The sign you can bring back at any time now. Yep, just bring it upstairs. Yep, all right, thank you.
Okay, another public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I have a conflict with this item. I would.
Okay.
All right, and this one is an actual public hearing. We are. This one, last time we had kind of a snafu with, I believe it was notification, but we had to re-notify. That's what they're going on here. This is a change of zoning from agriculture to A2, and it is directly adjacent to other A2 properties. You can see that in the map. This is an area that we've been seeing these breakups of these larger parcels down into, the 4 per 40. Yes, it meets the density requirements. It meets, general location of where it's located and stuff. That's really all I have, unless you have any other questions. And yep, Riley's here, so if you have any questions.
Do you have anything you want to add to it before I offer it to the public? Okay, at this time is a public hearing. If you'd like to comment on it for or against, you stand up, state your name and address. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and offer it to the board. Can't make a motion, and Randy's out.
You can't make a motion today. This is a public hearing for a change of zoning, so you have to have a second reading.
Okay.
Which will be your next, when is it, the
27th. Okay, this will be continued till then.
Well, close the public hearing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
We'll
second.
take action on it the 27th.
Yep. Second reading is the 27th. There is no new notifications that you have to do, and then I just
have a
need
full
those
board
notices.
by then.
9:30.
He's got his.
Yep, I need those. I need your receipts. But, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yep, you're good for today.
Okay. Amber?
9:30.
I believe
27th.
the last.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, next
I am
one.
back.
You're back now.
9:32.
So the next one,
Thank
we
you
have
for the
two
reminder.
bond deals that we are dealing with.
So I've been having to do it all morning.
Yeah.
Pretty late.
Are we all of the properties or?
No, you're doing the bonds now. We're through all the public hearing stuff. You should be under plat.
Performance.
Very first item under the plat.
Okay, I'll go down there.
And I don't know if anybody's going to be here for them or not, but I can.
Partners?
Well, we have Maitland Partners and we have Apple Springs. We can deal with both of them if you want to.
Okay, go ahead.
So Maitland Partners, this is the first time we've ever seen a bond like this. They did it through a bonding company, so it's a little bit different than what we see most of the time. So what Bruce and I decided to do is we required an estimate. The only thing they're requesting to bond is the Firewise information. So the estimate came from Speechlo Incorporated, who is he stopped in and talked to me too, but he has agreed to do the work. And so he gave a estimate. And I'm trying to pull it up. The estimate is it matches the legal description of the performance bond as well as the plat that you're going to see later today. He's saying it's going to be $1,800 an acre. It's about 20 acres. So $36,504 is what he is estimating for the total cost. But he was not comfortable with starting the work yet because the bonds were flying. So he said, I would prefer not to, which is why he wrote this letter, and that's where the bond is. So we have not done a bond like this. So I don't know if this meets what you want to see, but Bruce and I thought it was okay. It was the contractor, and this is what he's saying it's going to cost.
Well, I think everything's in order here, and that they may not don't start that early because of the temperatures.
Yeah, they just didn't know.
Stop, otherwise you lose all your health.
And I think they were a little concerned too of just fire danger because it's so dry right now.
And so I think that just we haven't seen a bond one, but that's standard procedure. So I think it's all in place. I just want to make clear that they have to have this done by January of 2023, or we enact the bond.
Correct. Yep, that's what we have the date.
And the only thing that I was wondering is there's a warranty for for a year after completion.
I don't know, that came
We'll
from,
have to have somebody say, like Rob Maddox say it's been done, and then that warranty will start. That doesn't have to be the 20.
well, and then that would match what we would require from our fire plan stuff anyways, because Rob's the one that wrote the fire plan.
So I think it's a matter of just having the paperwork. But I'm saying it doesn't have to be a year after the date of the contract, a year after.
Okay.
I think your MOU is written pretty well.
Okay, so the only thing I wasn't sure about, because we don't, and Bruce isn't in here, this performance bond, I think, Bruce, does the commissioners need to sign this? I don't know. Do we sign anything with that? So we just need to sign the memorandum of agreement then?
Move to approve the performance bond, allow the chairman to sign the MOU.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sign that so we don't lose
I didn't have the letter of credit on drive for
it should be.
or the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the fully executed one, there was a blank version.
There was a blank one, because I got he emailed me his signed version, but it was on there.
Can I?
By, Bob Ewing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is the one that came this morning, because it has their signature on it. So we have an MOU, the unsigned letter of credit, and then the KLJ engineering letter. No, they didn't.
What's wrong?
I got it.
I need this one. That one's crappy.
Got a blue one here.
Yeah, as long as it's a gel.
I don't have a gel.
Where are we at?
We're on the Apple Springs letter of credit.
Copies for me. Let's see this whole packet.
Okay, Amber.
Okay, so it's preliminary plats. I have the plats, but I know the plats are going to change. I haven't approved yet. Yes, that's what I'm on. Yep.
Okay.
But just to give you, he wanted you to have kind of an idea in your head, because I know sometimes that helps. But this plat has not even gone to planning and zoning yet, but they're just trying to be, ahead of the game, because they know they're not going to have the infrastructure done. So this is the plat that you're going to see. To finish the infrastructure, so you're coming up this way. But this plat it's not before you today, because it wasn't ready. He just wanted to get the bonds ready. So that kind of gives you a general idea of what they're looking for. The KLJ was the engineer on it, and so they did provide their letter of, showing their estimates. Here's your estimate, plus all of their estimates. Estimation, and they did a 15% contingency on there. Your memorandum of agreement, and then this is the same thing that I have a signed copy from the president now, but I didn't have the signed before. I just need to notify them if you guys approve this so they can finalize it. So here's the letter of credit, and then your memorandum of agreement, which is the same of what we've seen in the past.
Can you go back to the plat?
The plat?
Preliminary sign. So has that been approved with that?
No, that's what I said. You guys haven't approved the plat yet.
See where that corner is? I'm not sure that meets our criteria, but that's another discussion another time. Right there where it says the public right of way of 0.23 acres.
Looks strange, doesn't it?
See if that meets our design criteria.
Well, I think this is one of those things that you guys have in the past approved the road, and they're doing he'll explain it. They're doing a weird land thing here, but not before you today, so I know there's going to be changes to
So
the
this
plat.
is strictly discussion item?
No, you need to approve the bond today. You just don't have a plat to attach to it right now. That'll come later.
We have the plans for this?
What do you mean the plans?
Do you have the road plans?
No, you don't do that with the bond. You never have.
We have to have To base the
Credit.
bond off of, where's the engineer?
Sorry, just a second, Brandon, we can't hear you, hold on.
There we
Go ahead, sorry.
We need an engineer's estimate with all the road detail on it to show what the
Yep,
bond
it's,
is on.
the bond engineered estimate, it is on the drive, that's what I'm showing you right now. That's what we've always, that's all we've ever done for the bond. The road profiles will come with the plat.
Commissioner Diver?
I would move to continue this to a time when the plat has been through planning and zoning and approved and presented with us, and we approve this at the same time with the plans and the plat.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so I'm just gonna question it because I told them to go this route because we've never done what you just said before. So
Well,
is that gonna be the new normal?
To my knowledge, Amber, we've always had the plans ahead of the, so we haven't had the plan.
We haven't, but okay.
Okay, what's your next one?
Mr. Chairman, when Amber pulls that up, can I ask a point of clarification? I just visited with the sheriff and, yeah, they're planning on getting their advertisement for those vehicles in the paper to coincide with the 27th.
Mhm.
There was no hesitation with that, right?
No, it passed.
No. You didn't approve the budget, but
No.
the public hearing was held.
And we had a contingent on the budget
Yeah.
approval.
Yes, so they're gonna have that come in on the 27th.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Amber?
All right, so I guess we'll go back to, this is a plat that you guys had continued back in, looks like June 14th. You had requested clarification on the fire flows for the second phase of Maitland Partners. Looks like no action was taken at that time, and then you gave that the notification that you wanted some more information on the fire flows. So that there's a lot of information in the drive here, and Al Schreier is here to maybe probably give you a precursor or an overall view of where it's at today based off of things that they have found. So I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, Al. Which one, do you want me to pull a certain one up, or I didn't know which one you wanted to start with?
I think the 500 is a good place to start because it shows the whole system.
I have no idea which one of these items is that. You got your base map?
Yeah, try that one.
Or your base map to scale?
1D.
This one?
Yeah, 1D, yeah. I got a smaller.
Here's your base map.
Right. So basically that is a map of the whole Paradise Acres and Harley Ridge. And scroll down, Amber, somewhat, you can see, go to the bottom, please. At the very bottom, there's a little bubble on that orangish road. That is the Maitland Ridge tank, or Harley Estates tank. The water comes from Lead, pumped up in 2 pump stations to a tank up there, and then it feeds all the rest of the Maitland Partners projects. And there's a branch off to the left, and then some blue, the Bellfish area, and then it goes what was called Harley Estates originally. There's a little circle here. This is the Harley Estates. Now I think they call it Maitland Ridge because it's got naming issues. This is where it crosses Maitland Road. The switchbacks are here. The other switchbacks there, and it goes in a single line all the way to the north. And we can scroll down now, please, a little bit. And there is a
where'd it go?
You just double click on the capacity of the tank.
The tank's 30,000 gallons. Yeah. Okay. Yes. There we go. So right about here. This is just explain this here. This is pretty much a simple line to Midnight Court, and then here is Shadow Lane. There's a pressure reducing valve here. So everything from this area back up to Maitland Ridge rides on the tank pressure, the elevation of the tank. From here, it's reduced down because of the pressure in the lines. You have to reduce the pressure down. And this middle area is what's called on the middle zone, or I call it zone 2 in the report. And this area is also going to be on zone 2, basically. This is Paradise 4 phase 1, and this is Paradise 4 phase 2 up through here. And then this is again, there's a pressure valve here, and this lower area, Monte Carlo, all the little lower on stuff, that's in a third zone, basically. So, as I said at the meeting, if I had 1,000 GPM fire flow, I wouldn't be, I've already said we've had it. But if we don't have 1,000 GPM possible, the reason is this is a 6-inch line, and it's long distance, and the friction loss in the pipe just erodes the pressure away every foot of the pipe, basically. So we had about 550 GPM at this hydrant, and then about 700 GPM down here, and this is in the lower zone. So it comes down to friction loss, and, you know, not to be too technical, the water doesn't care where the elevation of the ground is. It's called the hydraulic grade line, and it's out there based on the tank, and if the water stops flowing, it's like a flat plane on the table of the earth. All the pressure is related to the elevation of the tank water to the ground, but it's always above the ground, which is why you get pressure. But with the flowing and the friction loss, which creates loss in the pipe, we can't get 1,000 GPM down here. So the Maitland Partners are going to do is they're going to put another tank up in here. They want to propose this is it's on the Eagle MS survey, so we're calling it the Eagle tank, and this is Eagle Court just because it's the local name to the mineral surveys up there, and this is up near Tetra Rock, if anybody knows that landmark. So proposing another tank, 30,000 gallons, if not more, here, and this will supply water to this side of the subdivision much more effectively and be able to meet the 1,000 GPM fire flow.
Okay, Commissioner Diamond.
So the tank plans have not been submitted?
No, they have not. Well, I have a quote from them, but they, you know, this is I will admit that one of the questions they have is like, are they going to have to do it now, bond for it? I don't think they know themselves actually if they're gonna, if they want to get the plats approved, if they need a bond for it, they'll have to get a bond.
Well, typically we don't approve the preliminary plat unless we have all the design done and we don't have the tank design and that system design in front of us today. Typically then you can build it or you can decide to bond it before you get the final plat approved, and typically we don't give building permits and or occupancy permits until we have water to the residences. So that's our typical path. Mm-hmm. So I would move to continue this preliminary and final plat to our next meeting until we have all the design needed from the applicant, which would include the tank and the connection to the tank and the valve.
Can I, yeah, I understand that point. I know
that's my motion.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay,
so you said
second further
to
discussion.
continue to the next meeting or
until the design is ready.
I wasn't quite done.
We got a motion.
So just because Bruce isn't in here, he would. I don't think he's going to want it either or because they're not going to have it by the 27th.
So meeting and we can keep continuing.
I think that's. Wouldn't you agree? That's kind of how he likes.
My motion was to continue at the next meeting at 9.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Schreier, what was your?
Well, I have some design things. I was just giving the overall view first, and the design for it is what in phase 2 is done. Tank has been located. It doesn't have a shop drawing for the tank. I want to be clear about that. I wasn't quite done.
And you don't have the pipe. You don't have the piping doing from the tank.
I do. I sent Emerson plans.
Yep, they're all in there.
In there, so I guess
I don't have the tank.
The tank, right? I will admit they don't have their plan of when they want to do it, but if they're being told they have to have either bonded or in place, they kind of know that they
know about the process.
If we can go that way, I'd be. Now I had a chance to get my full presentation out there. I shortened it up quite a bit. But.
And then they can either bond, or they can wait till they build it.
Right.
That's their choices. But we still normally don't give building permits and or occupancy till the water is active.
Okay.
I understand that, yeah, okay.
Is that what you were asking?
I would like to see that you believe that the design is there, but it's just that building it, the infrastructure building is the bonding issue. I'd like to get that half step closer, then they know they have to build it or bond it, if that's good.
My motion stands.
Repeat the motion.
It's to continue until the next meeting, until they have the design.
Okay, and you seconded it, Richard?
I did.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Chop drawing. Thank you.
So
Did you update your Department of Natural Resources?
They'll need a bond or else.
You don't need that for your next meeting.
Well, they want to get the plat approved, so they're gonna need a bond. If they want to get their plat approved, they're gonna need a bond to get.
The final plan.
For the final plat, correct. So the preliminary, so if I can tell them the right thing, the preliminary plan is basically approving the contingency, showing more design, and then they won't get a final plat till they actually got a bond or build it. Is that a pretty short way of
The
saying it?
preliminary plat is pending till we approve the design.
Okay.
Okay.
And so I want to clarify with you, Randy. Design-wise, he provided the design of the piping and all of that, but just not the tank.
We don't have the tank or the footings for the tank or the connections at the tank.
Okay, so the design of
That's all
the tank.
monolithic with the water system, and we don't know if the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resource permit has been updated to include the tank. Yeah. So we have all these items pending.
Okay, so the
And
design of
we're
the
trying to
tank.
be consistent now because we have other people going through the same thing. So we need
So
that level of detail, and you're going the right direction here. It's just we need to have it.
I just want to get that. There was some design provided, but like I said,
I looked for the tank and the
they're
tank.
not giving the answers on the tank yet. It would have been
And
designed
then
by
the DANR approval, we're still kind of waiting on that,
Yeah,
because I knew we didn't
it
have
didn't
that.
include the tank before.
Correct, it did not have the tank.
Yeah, the tank's the new, it's
Yep,
been
that's
pretty
true.
commonly said since
And
the last
then,
meeting, we're gonna have the tank up there. I just want to give you an overall
Yeah,
picture of why
understand.
we're doing it, that's,
Yeah.
okay.
I get that. I was just trying to cut to the chase.
So, just so I clarify with the bonding, because this is different than what we've done before, if they get their design of the tank, their DENR approval, and they submit, while the preliminary plat's still on your agenda, they can, in theory, ask for a bond on all of this based off of all of that engineering, if they choose to at the next meeting.
Right. What they could do is they could come in with their design and get the preliminary plat approved. Immediately after approval of the preliminary plat, they could present their bond, whatever they're bonding, which they know are done, so it'd just hypothetically be the water. We would approve the bonding, and then we would move to the final plat and approve it. That way we have it in the right order. And the motion for the bond and the final plat would be more monolithic than that. We just need to have the process, because we don't know what we're bonding till we have the design. And why would you bond unless the preliminary plat wasn't approved? Because you got a letter of credit out there for nothing.
You need to know what they're
Right.
bonding.
Yeah,
because
next item. And then
plan.
it'd be an itemized list then. Too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everybody square on that. Next item?
Okay, so the next item is also Maitland Partners, lots 103, 106, 107, and 109. They are requesting a final plat on this portion. These are the lots that you guys just approved, the fire plan bond on, that's these lots. And you had already allowed the water and sewer and all of that stuff before. You had done the full preliminary. So the only thing not done on these lots is the fire plan portion.
And we just bonded that.
Yeah, you just
So we
wanted
approved
that.
the preliminary plat before on this one.
Yeah, you guys did, well, it was the big preliminary for this lower part.
So it's only lots 103, 106, 107, and 109.
109, yep. The bond included lots 117, but we did not ask for a final plat on that one.
Is there any water to these lots, Al?
Yes, the water's
Yeah, water's
been installed.
Okay.
I've given Amber a letter saying it's installed, checked, and operational to these lots.
Move to approve the final plat of lots 103, 106, 107, and 109. Paradise Acres. As presented.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Being none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Amber.
So this one is for Kloss Development, Dakota Highlands State. This is an amended preliminary plat. They didn't change any of the lot sizes or the lot, they just changed the entry. So,
Okay, at Planning and Zoning, Mr. Parley, who's with us today, done a small presentation on some issues that he, as a resident of the neighboring development, and Richard and I, you and I went out and looked here a while back at those approaches. And I guess it was up to my discretion. I'm going to allow Mr. Parley to come up and just share what he did with us at Planning and Zoning. This is by no means a public hearing, but he took the time and effort to come to Planning and Zoning and was willing to come here. I just wanted him to have the opportunity to share his thoughts as a resident. Randy?
And who do you represent?
Himself.
My name is Delane Parlett. I live at 20234 Frontier Loop. I'm in the on the Estates. I don't represent the homeowners association. I'm here for myself. Bob, you asked about the road agreement between them and Mr. Klaus. I talked to Rick last night, and as far as I know, he said they don't think it's all ironed out yet. It sounds like they're real close to getting their whatever they're going to do done. Okay, my concern is Frontier Loop and the safety of the road. I'm going to pass this around. This is a plat on Spruce Mountain. Okay, I live right here. Okay, okay. As you come around, this is all uphill to this blue line right here. That's an 11% grade. Okay, Mr. Klaus's entrance to Frontier Loop, one of them is going to be right here, just past the apex of a hill. As you go from this blue line over here to this other blue line over here, that's a 7% grade. Okay, as you come down around the hill here, this reverts back and goes down to another 11% grade. Okay, summertime, weather's fine, visibility is fine. Now, once you put 60 houses out in Mr. Klaus's development, and you have all of that traffic, okay, now we get into the wintertime and roads and ice, because where I live is right here. The people that come up this road here in the wintertime, they got to take a run at it. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because once you crest this hill here, then you're going downhill at a pretty good clip. Once people start pulling out, I see it as a recipe for disaster. And I've also brought pictures for that too. This here is the 7% grade. Up here, where the mailbox is about the crest of the hill. Okay, where this tree is right here, I started there, and when we took the pictures, that's about the center of the road where his development is going to cross out. Okay, as this road goes down here, from up here to here is a 7% grade. Then once you go down around the corner, it reverts to an 11% grade. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. On there. Yep.
Okay. I'll pass these pictures around, but this is the one that I want to show you. Okay, as you go down all the way out and you come out to Jackson, you get down here, this is the dip in Frontier Loop. Okay. This is the road that is the entrance that they put there now. Okay. Now, once winter rolls around again, I mean, they do drive through there all the time. Before the Klaus development, this is a non-issue for anybody, just the people who live there. But now, once you start turning into this entrance here, I'm going to say that's probably going to be the main used entrance. And then you go down into that dip. Okay, now we're downhill. I'll start passing pictures around. And you can see what's already happened out there. In the wintertime, when you have people coming and going, okay, it's dark. You know, we're in summertime now. Once people start coming and going from there, that's another recipe for disaster there. And then once you see what has already happened out there with water, okay, that was a 2-inch rain event. But Mother Nature has strange ideas what she wants to do. You might want to do things, but she has her idea. So what my opinion is, Mr. Clue should be made to fill that dip in, level the road out. The culvert extension can go to the west side, because it's all his property. The road will basically stay where it is. I surveyed that, and it's gonna take approximately 500 yards to fill that dip in. So.
500 cubic yards.
Right. And my next, question is, has the county thought about actually taking over and running and maintaining just this mile of road? Okay, the only reason I bring that up is, okay, right now there's probably, of the people that live there, there's 14 cars that come by every day up to about here. Okay, and then Antler and Stampede, there's about another 10. Okay, once you add Klaus's development, you put 60 homes in there. Okay, husband and wife go to work in the morning. Okay, there's 120 car trips a day added in the morning, another 120 car trips a day added, plus what's there, plus you watch all the delivery vehicles come and go. We're over 350 vehicles a day in and out of there once this is done. Because I'm going to say right now it's probably close to 100 by the time you add all the people that drive in and out, and you watch the delivery vehicles, FedEx, UPS, Carl's, plumbers, electricians, and stuff that you see come and go. So, okay.
Any questions, anyone?
Well, if I may, this photo shows how narrow that road is up by the mailbox. I remember that when I drove in there months ago. And coming from the north through the existing subdivision, I think that's the narrow place, and then as you go further south and you turn to the east, I think there's some more narrow ones, but it's not at their entrances.
Right. Where that mailbox is, the road turns right there. That makes a bend. It was your.
And I think that's narrower than our typical section, but that's the existing road. And then as you go south, it's pretty good, but if you turn east and get away from this, then it gets narrow back in those houses again. That's how I remember that.
Yeah.
Amber, on the preliminary plat that we approved, what is the change in that one and this one? Is there just a change?
The only change is when they actually built the road, they're changing it to match the as-built.
They're changing the alignment of the road.
They're changing it to match the as-built, or the as-built to match the plat, I guess, go the other way.
So they're just changing the right-of-way locations.
Yeah, and it's just on this one entry right here.
Did they submit the as-bills yet?
No, and I think that's what.
So they're doing a courtesy to us by
just amending the preliminary plat, which is what we like to see.
Right, and then what we do is we come in at the final plat and make sure the road agreement's in place and those types of things.
That it's done according to
the plan.
Yeah.
I think, Schreier, is the traffic count for a house 3 times 6? 3 vehicles, 6 trips a day, is that what you
I couldn't tell you, Randy, without.
Somewhere between 3 and 3 and 3 and 6, so my point is your number is low.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's either three vehicles, 3 trips, or 3 vehicles, 6 trips, I can't remember what it is, but somewhere in between there. And so that gives you a better number, and you could get that from an engineer what that is. I just don't recall it off the top of my head either, but your numbers are light upon full build out.
Okay.
Just so you know. And you might ask somebody that's a professional engineer to give you that.
Okay. Now, with this dip here like this, I don't know what Mr. Close's plans are or what your plans are, but that road could actually be moved and line up with that one right there. I mean, there's more dirt work to be done, but it would be safer, and that could actually be turned, to me, in my opinion, could be turned into a square corner and stop sign.
Intersection.
Right.
But it seems to me that the course of action here would be get the homeowners and the new developer together and work out their success. And then when we consider the final plat, have the evidence of that agreement and resolve the issues. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Bob?
The water runs from the one development into another development.
All the water
Together very well.
from the Clues development goes down through Spruce Mountain. Every bit of it.
And they didn't show any detention there that I saw to slow that water.
Okay.
Which we don't require,
We tried the drainage plan.
and you approved the drainage plan.
We did.
Due to the fact that we're short on commissioners present today, I can't make a motion, but I myself would like to see this continued, because I think it'll be a split vote today that we won't get anywhere. Randy?
Well, obviously.
And I realize this is just preliminary.
Yeah, and we've already approved the preliminary, we're just doing a realignment. And, so if we did approve the preliminary, we would certainly want to note that all this stuff has to be worked out before the final plat.
Yep.
And that might be a solution here, because as a developer, you want the preliminary plat so you can move forward and not be totally at risk, with some surety that it'd be approved. So, in making them go into another development and grade is somewhat unique, right?
Right.
So I'm struggling with the same thing, although it is a preliminary. And the applicant is not here.
Correct.
Maybe the thing to do is continue it and have the applicant come in and update us on the agreement with the homeowners, and if he's willing to go into the subdivision and do that work. What do you think, Richard?
Just a discussion today anyway.
Well, it's on our agenda to.
It's on our agenda. I allowed Mr. Parley to come in and share his thoughts, because this has been kind of an ongoing issue, and
we continue it to next meeting.
okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to continue to the next meeting, the 27th. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
So,
I know it's hard for you, Amber.
well,
Sorry.
it's not that, it's not, I think it's unfair that the landowner didn't even have an opportunity to be here, so.
Well, he will now. He will now.
Or his rep.
Or he could, I mean, just, I wouldn't be surprised if he just pulls this preliminary plat, because he doesn't have to. Because you guys already approved the preliminary,
Yeah,
he can
it's
just
a
keep,
courtesy.
just so you know, I'll let him know, but,
And they could bring it in right ahead of the final. I mean, they
yeah.
have that prerogative.
Well, just forward.
So you want me to,
If they're gonna
I'll
put it,
just
if they're gonna
notify,
put it on there, it'd be good that they come in and maybe talk to us.
I'll just notify Klaus, to give an update again. Even, he just gave you guys an update, but to give another update, I don't think anything's changed. He is working with the road district, not the
But
individual
nothing-
landowners.
The homeowners.
Stone
No
yet.
road district. It's the homeowners. There's no road district here.
So, I just want to clarify, because last time you told him to work with the homeowners association, not the individual landowners. So I just want to clarify that that has not changed, because that's what was requested of him last time.
Yep, and they haven't resolved all their issues yet.
But that's what you want an update from.
Yep.
We need them to come to an agreement.
Yeah.
Because I talked to Rick Hagerty last night, and when I talked, he's on homeowners association, and he said that they don't have everything finalized yet. Sounds like it's pretty close, because they're supposed to have a homeowners association meeting this Saturday. I won't be here because I've got soccer games and cross country meets to go to, so I won't be there. So.
All right. Well, thank you for your input.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just have a problem not allowing people to come forward, and that's what we're here for.
Well, it was on the agenda, so they could have come.
Yeah. Next item.
This one is a preliminary and final plat. This is a exempt plat in Spearfish, and they are taking basically 6 lots and making them 3 lots. So they're they're decreasing density. There's already existing infrastructure on all of them. There's a house, there's a well, there, you know, all the stuff's already there. They're just making their lots bigger.
Move to declare exempt.
I'll second it. All those in favor of the motion to make it exempt, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Everything's in place, Amber?
Yep,
Move to
everything's
approve
there.
the preliminary and final plat of
Second.
9R and 23R.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next one is Canyon LLC. So this one, the preliminary plat you guys had approved. The final plat, I had 3 conditions on it. 1, the stipulation and acknowledgement that the road identified therein as dedicated public access will never become a part of the county road system. You guys have been asking that to be added onto these. The fire plan must be completed prior to any final plats being approved. And the as-built for the road provided. We never did get the as-built, and I know they weren't quite done with it on Monday when they were out there to check it. So at planning and zoning, they did recommend approval with receiving the as-built, which they were hoping to have them today, but we didn't get them. And then the fire plan, I think all we needed was just a letter from Rob, as far as I understand it. Okay, so that was the 2 things, but we don't have the as-built.
Do you have his
Well,
letter?
I have emails galore from last week, so honestly, I didn't have time to go through it. But the as-built, it's not Mike. Brad. No, not Brad.
Mike Anderson.
No, the as-built are provided by your engineer, Heggie, right? Shane, there we go, Shane. But I had not received those from Shane, but obviously if it wasn't quite done yet, that's probably why I don't have them. So it's up to you guys. I'm all right with it continuing till the 27th, and then give them time to get them done.
Don, do you have anything to add to this?
Well, it's
John, even if we approve the stipulation, we wouldn't sign it until. I'm gonna change your deadlines.
So I think the important thing is we need to get it approved so they can get the lots sold and stuff, because they've got it pending, but I think if the 27th,
That's our next meeting.
maybe then,
I mean, then you'd have everything and.
that's acceptable.
Okay. Move to continue the final plat till the 27th, expecting the as-built.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Chairman, FYI, Alan was out there and we asked him.
Don, where we at, Amber?
Shining Dawn Element LLC. So this one is the old President's Park. Kind of remember where that is. That's the access coming in there. It's just, this pulled up both loads that they own, but it's actually just the first load that's being replatted here. It's zoned recreation commercial, so they're subdividing it in half. One of the lots is what's on one side of the highway, and the other lot is what's on the other side of the highway. And it's Crow, and they did do the fire mitigation. It's zoned recreation commercial. There is existing entry from the highway, because it's the President's Park entrance. That's already in place. It's all concrete done. The entry on the other side, they had to do an amendment. So the plat that's in drive it did not show the new access yet, because the DOT, it sounds like basically the DOT will allow them access, but they would prefer them to come off of Embers Way, which is inside Powderhouse Path. to get to it because there's such a drop on that side. So it sounds like they're still gonna work with Powder Hill Pass, but they do have an entrance off of the highway, but the DOT kind of gave them a conditional, yes, we'll do it, but we'd prefer you work with Embers Way to come in off of Powder House Pass, which is fine. I don't see a problem with that. They would, I think, prefer to come in off of Embers Way. And then it's zoned recreation commercial, so density-wise, it meets the requirements of that recreation commercial density.
Staff recommended approval.
Yep, staff recommended approval of it. This is just a preliminary on this one. They originally were going to ask for a final, but I think when it came down to it, because of the DOT questions and fire plan, they do have a little bit of work to finish.
Mr. Diver.
Is the Highway 85 is not in fee? It's just a right-of-way? They're including the Highway 85 in their acreages.
I can't answer that. That's fair.
I don't know what that circle represents. See detail. And there's no detail. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's up on the top there.
So the DOT will have to sign the final plat.
Yes. And I think that's why they kind of left it open-ended for the entry.
Yeah.
Because they would prefer them, because Embers Way runs right along the back, and so that's where they'd like them to come.
Did you talk to anybody at the DOT?
I don't ever talk to anybody at the DOT with these. They saw the plat, I know that.
It's just usually on a state highway, you don't plat to the center line, typically.
That map shows that they did, huh?
Yeah, this one, and we asked Rob about it, and he responded back saying the DOT will allow access, and,
Right.
you know, I mean,
I guess it's a little bit of misrepresentation because it's 3.2 acres, which includes the right-of-way, so the actual acreage is about a third of that on the south side of the, it'd be east side of the road.
Yeah. And I don't know, he's not here, so I mean, it's up to you guys. I can question it. I can have him just clarify, I guess.
But we could approve this.
It's a preliminary.
Contingent on having clarity on that right-of-way.
That would be
Lots
fine.
might change, and then they'd have to do an amended preliminary plat.
Okay.
But I think he needs to talk to the area engineer.
Okay.
Don't you think? Because that's very unusual.
It's weird, but I was like, well, I mean, I'm not
trying to think
fair
of
if
his name. The area engineer.
I don't remember which one's up here now. Mike
Carlson. So I would approve the preliminary plat contingent on DOT approval of how the right-of-way is shown.
I think they ought to wait myself.
Okay, well, if we don't get a second, the motion will die. I think you waited long enough, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it's died for a lack of a second.
Move to continue the preliminary plat to our next meeting for more information from the DOT.
There we go.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to continue to further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay.
Looking up to 27th, aren't we?
I know.
So the next one is Black Hills Development LLC for tract BLM and the common area. So the common area was previously platted as Common Area A, and it is the location of where the sewer treatment plant sits. That's where this common area is. And if you remember, they have been working with the BLM because there's all those little tiny BLM pieces throughout the development. This is the solution to that. The BLM would like to take the BLM tract in trade. I guess not the right word. They would trade for all those little tiny pieces of BLM property throughout. So they'll get the one BLM tract, and then they will then in turn feed over all those little pieces to Powderhouse Pass. And so the common area A changes shape. Does that make sense?
Are there any of the BLM pieces inclusive in this plat?
Not in this plat, no, because they're all
government lots included in this legal description.
no. It's all the mineral survey, well, it's common area lot A now, because it's been platted as common area lot A. Common lot area. There's a lot of it included in there. There's little tiny triangles all over the place that are like
They're called hiatus.
04.12.
What happens is when they are discovered, they're given a government lot. It's like a government lot. The government lots go all throughout the extension area created by void. There's none in this plat, so I'm comfortable.
None in this plat. I think I want to say they have a total of like 30 little tiny lots throughout the 1,000 acres. They're just little tiny, and some of them are like 0.04.
Some of them can be 50 square feet.
Yep. And so they've been trying to work with them to come up with a solution, but the BLM didn't want multiple. They wanted just
one exchange.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think if I remember right, you can kind of see the trails back here. I think this is close to where the snowmobile trail comes in on the back side of this. So it kind of makes sense to have that be the area that they're getting.
BLM could include those little pieces into a bigger chunk if Colorado Pass would agree with them.
I think that's their
That's
goal
what they're doing.
Is they'll get those deeded to them, or they'll do a small tracts where they'll plat and deed those. Since they're already platted, they probably don't need to go quite that route.
Yeah, their intention
there's none in this, so we're just taking two portions of a mineral survey and making, or several mineral surveys and making two lots.
No, you are subdividing common area A.
Okay.
Because the mineral survey loads are already gone because they were inclusive of the common area A.
So we're making two lots out of one.
Correct.
Okay. Planning and zoning didn't have an issue with it?
No. When we kind of talked about it, I sort of treated it like a utility lot in a way, because the septic or the tank and the treatment plant sit on the common area. And they still sit on the common area. They're not moving.
Besides making two lots out of one, are they making different size lots now than what they had?
There was 16 plus acres. Now there's 13 and 3.5 or 3. Recommendation of planning and zoning was approval. Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Further discussion? We're hearing none. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And I know for you, Brandon, in the drive, the plat number 8 is still on there, but it got pulled on Friday afternoon, so that's why it was still in the drive.
Okay, thank
you. Yeah, and then number 9 is the next one. Well, you do want, I'm talking Brandon. He does on his stuff because I tried to organize it for him. So preliminary final plat for lots 12 through 16, block 12, trailside addition. This is just a preliminary and a final within that subdivision. The update that we got as of August 20th for phase 2 construction is 95% complete. The asphalt paving is complete, and the contractor is working on the normal little cleanup areas. And this is fully bonded right now still. We will be seeing the new bond any time now to move into the Auburn Acres, which is the plat that got pulled.
I don't have this on my agenda.
Should.
Yeah, it's listed as number 8.
Oh, it's 8.
That's why I said it switched.
Trying to
because,
confuse us.
I know.
Because
we had a number 8 in there, and then it got pulled on Friday after Bruce sent everything to you.
So it's preliminary and final.
It is preliminary and final.
Approved the road design previously.
Correct. And it's all done for the most part.
And so it's done and bonded.
It's bonded. Yep.
So when they do their new bond, they'll release this part of it.
Yeah. It'll move. I think the new bond will cover a little bit of trail side and mostly the Auburn Acres, which is the new phase.
And planning and zoning, recommended approve to follow the recommendation of planning and zoning and preliminary and the final.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Another second.
Okay. Got a third there. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And Brandon, same thing, I see you still have an item 10 in the drive. It got pulled as well on Friday.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item on the agenda was gonna be from Michelle May. Unfortunately, she's had a death in the family and won't be with us today, so we won't be having that. So the next item is Deb Tritle.
I think you don't have anything in the...
We're not doing too bad.
Deb, do you have anything in the drive for you?
No.
I don't think so. Okay.
Thanks, Sam. Are you gonna be here?
Yeah.
Me up.
I need him to second.
Yeah, well, I'll come up after the meeting and talk about our.
All right, Deb, you have the floor, ma'am.
We're back on this little piece over here in St. Ange.
Mm-hmm.
I went through it, I went from 1928 to now, went through the grantor grantee books as good as I can. I mean, that isn't my forte, researching the property and stuff. And Davita helped me as best as she went through. I can find where we got the property in 1938. Where Mr. Shrewberry gave it to us, and that little piece was all, it was for highway purposes. And they had all of this, which you probably understand it better than I do, Randy. And then they added this little tract in at the very bottom. It looked like a little piece they added back in. I could never find where we gave it back to him. But I don't, who knows what happened in 1938, that maybe after the highway was done, people got some of what they didn't use back or whatever, because I can find in 1952 where Mr. Shrewberry sold a bunch of land that included this piece he gave us to McElroy. And then down the road, McElroy sold to Moe's. And then Moe's sold to Olson. And in 2009 is when, and all this time, from Shrews to McElroy's and to Moe's, they paid taxes on it. It was when it went from Moe's to Olson that EQ found this little piece thing here, because it wasn't indexed. It was because of the legal description. It was just, in this, I don't know.
So Olson claims ownership and has been paying taxes on this piece?
No, it went off the tax books in 2007. Prior to that, from 1938 till when Mr. Olson got it, taxes were being paid on it.
Now they aren't.
Now they aren't, but he thought when he bought it, he thought he owned it. He's been taking care of it. He's been doing everything. Now, at the same time in 1938, across the street, this other little piece over here, that was the 6 acres. I followed that all the way through. That we've kept, and when McElroy's got that property, it said except this piece here. And when McElroy sold it to Moe, it said except this piece here. So we do own this piece.
Okay.
And most know we own it because it's set all the way through there and stuff. But on that little piece there, I don't know if we do or not, guys.
Commissioner Dybert.
Well, on the piece that is on the southwest side, right? That one's clear, we could go ahead and.
Yes, I followed this all the way through, and I followed all the stuff, and every piece from 1938 forward, it says except the piece Lawrence County owns.
I would call that the northwest property, the other one's the southeast. Yep.
So the one that Olson is claiming ownership in is unclear.
It's next to the old Moe Dairy for reference.
In this deed, they warranted that property in this deed. It's a warranty deed, not a quick claim deed.
Yeah.
So it's warranted through the process.
We talked to the title company. Deb arranged a meeting with them.
So what I would do is I'd ask Mr. Olson for a copy of his title commitment when he bought the property, unless you already have it. Does it include his property?
I haven't looked. I don't think so.
We have to look at his policy.
They warranted it, so theoretically, no. I mean, we can double check.
Well, we need to get a copy of his title.
They don't mention
She's got it.
except Lawrence County, that piece.
Okay. They They say except Lawrence County.
They say it does not mention that we own this piece in here.
So I don't think they picked it up.
So let's just say that his title commitment shows that ownership. Then can the county just quit claim their interest to them?
Well,
clear this up and put it back on the tax roll?
I think a more general question is so I think the county owns the property. I think South Dakota, there's race and there's notice states, and I think South Dakota is a notice, and notice was given. It's on record in the Register of Deeds office. So.
But it's not indexed up there.
It doesn't matter. It's on record. So it's on record.
It's hard to find. That's why they didn't find it.
Yeah. So technically, I think we own it. The issue here is well, there's the consideration of somebody paid taxes on it for almost 50 years. Of course, you can't acquire property against a sovereign. There's no adverse possession. So there's mowing it, taking care of the weeds, paying taxes on it. You made a donation, unfortunately. But if anybody's going to buy that property, reasonably, you would think that there's a cloud on the title of it. And so to me, that diminishes the value of it. So who is it worth the most to? It's worth the most to Mr. Olson, who is the beneficiary of it because he's living next door. But as opposed to everybody else in the world, again, the value would be diminished. I'd want to do a quiet title action. I would want to do something to secure my ownership if I'm going to meaningfully do anything with that property, if I'm going to put any kind of structures on there, infrastructure or anything like that. And so, does that make sense? And so the thought would be is if the three appraisers would go back and consider the facts and probably come back and say that, or ratify that it is, or come back and say it's less than $500 now because of those unknowns, then I think that way it could be sold to Mr. Olson directly.
That's what I was going to recommend. And then, or the other action is he does the quiet title, but he still can't acquire from the sovereign the quiet title.
No.
So since we're the sovereign, we're in the driver's seat. So I would say we reconvene our appraisers, give them the pertinent information, which are really these two deeds. And he's got a colored or clouded title and see what the dollars they come back with. And if it's under the 500, we go A. If it's over the 500, we go B.
Because a quiet title action was probably going to cost somebody, I mean, you could do it yourself, but most people would hire an attorney. You're talking several $1,000s to do that. There's no guarantee that if it's not Mr. Olson might challenge it as opposed to somebody else. And so there's all these, there's expenditures out there that, again, I think bring the value down.
Well, it probably exceeds the value of the land.
And DeVito also says it needs to be platted.
Yeah, it's under 40 acres to get a building permit. They'd have to plat it, so they'd have that expense. And then they need access off the highway, which we don't know to be granted. So there's a lot of, for no broader term, or a broad term, is covenants on the property.
It looks like there's a common approach probably, but yeah.
So can we advertise the one we got clean title on?
This one plus the one up, the other one he did.
The 6 lots, is it, I think, sold as one unit?
Do you need a motion to reconvene our appraisers?
No, I think we'll just do that in light of this conversation.
And then on the other two, I've had a couple people call and say, are we gonna do,
The format,
the sealed bid or a live auction? The live auction, when Connie and I used to do it, we just stand out in the hallway here and just have people give us the higher bid, and when they quit bidding, that was the winner.
there seems to be a preference, at least in some circles, for an auction.
Like a sheriff's sale?
Mm-hmm.
Just out here we just advertise it, we do it.
Will you be present?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Outco, what's your recommendation?
Well, probably going to get the most money at an auction because then people can respond to the bids, right? And I mean, I can't guarantee that, but that seems like the path most reasonably calculated to get the most money, if that's the objective here. It's mostly to get them back on the tax rolls, right?
What do you need from us to execute either the auction or the bid?
Just directive, I think, a motion that we should do it one way or another.
Motion to auction the surplus properties both in
the annex
and the one.
The two.
Right, the two separately, advertise them separately in case we have a flaw with one, then we don't have to kick the whole thing out. So there'd be two motions. One motion to advertise the property, 6 lots in.
Yeah, then they're gonna be sold together.
As a unit.
Right. At an auction. Yep.
And
second the motion. Okay.
did your motion, are you gonna make a similar motion for the northwest property on 34?
Yeah, I will do that after this one.
Okay, everybody understand the motion? Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to auction the St. Anne's property, which we're calling the northwest property. You'll have a legal description of the motion.
6 acres minus right of way, so approximately 4 point some acres.
I think it's like 4.35 or something.
That's what I.
Okay, we have motion and second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Do we have a date?
Oh.
Try to do it for the, I don't know if we can get it all done by the 27th, but that would be our objective. Try to get the notice in.
My motion was to put that at his discretion.
And I will do like I did.
Was that your second?
Yeah.
Good date. Okay, we'll get one figured out.
How you hit the papers.
If we can get our appraiser group together and 2 of us are here in the room, and get that sorted out, do we have permission to advertise, if possible, the southeasterly lot as well, the one we've been talking about as well on that 27th?
If you determine it's more than 500?
Or less, yeah. Less would be the issue.
I don't want to approve an auction on for over $500.
It's less.
If it's less, then you can sell it directly.
Yeah, I think we wait and get the dollars. That's my. Okay. I don't want to put something on auction unless we can disclose all of the problems.
I have a prediction on the value.
So do I. But if we have it at the next meeting, we can move forward. If the value is under 500, is Mr. Olson willing to accept it quickly?
I assume so. I haven't talked to him.
I can call.
I think we should have that information if we go that route.
I guess I shouldn't say that. I would call and ask him.
And make sure you get the right Tim Olson.
I have his phone number.
Not the one in Harding County.
Yeah. And I will do like I did before. I will send letters out to all of the contiguous landowners to let them know when Rennie gets everything set up, time and date of the auction and what they need to do, so that if they are interested.
On the ones we're auctioning.
On the ones we're auctioning. That's how Mr. Olson found out about the other deal, so.
It's good that he brought it. We'd be in that.
And some good notes. My money moving to the food market through Wells Fargo. We did a good thing to make $13,000.
Well, bless your heart.
As opposed to, was it 2,000 for an entire year or something?
Less than that.
Yeah.
So it's the food market at Wells Fargo is really picking up. So.
And so is inflation.
Unfortunately, yes, it's sad, but at least we got some money.
It will even it.
It's helping out a little bit. So, and the one as First Interstate went up too, we made $9,000 on that one.
Okay. Well, we're down to items from the public. It's your opportunity to buck your saddle off, Eric. You got anything?
I'm afraid I don't today.
Anybody else? All right, items from commissioners.
Well, we had a Natural Resource Committee meeting. We were sadly disappointed that on the Camara project, under our cooperative agency status, that they wouldn't consider reclassifying some of the harvest to commercial. And I will state for the record, it doesn't appear that our cooperative agency status is working as it should. I'd like that reflected in the minutes. We were sadly disappointed about that. We had a discussion on the forest plan revision, and we should have an update from the Forest Service hopefully in October on whether they're going to redo the assessments or move forward. I captured the county meeting too, I think. Yeah. And they're going to have a county meeting, I think, this Thursday, and determine if we're going to hire Mitch Iverson, all the counties, as a consultant. And he will be teaming with Black Hills Council of Local Government.
Jennifer?
And the contract with Mitch would be with Black Hills Council of Local Governments, and the revenue stream would come from all the counties, 5 South Dakota counties.
Sounds like everybody is committed to some amount.
Yeah, I can't speak for the 3 commissions that had it on their agenda last week. I haven't talked to them. But Pennington was trying to put, dollars in their budget as was Fall River and Custer. Meade's in a little bit of flux because they lost two of their primary employees in the middle of the budget, Jerry Deere and Neb Kid, both left.
Biggest problem is you don't have any money in hand, it just got maybe a commitment, maybe.
Well, if they approve it in their budget, then
Okay. Anything further?
Next meeting's the 27th.
So make sure they deliver your mail at Saturday.
Yeah, you know that.
Make a motion, Randy.
You can just adjourn.
You can just declare us adjourned.
All right.
Declare.
We are adjourned.
Okay.
Sometimes you get,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brandon.
Mine comes about 3 o'clock now.
Late?
Used to come later.